Hello and welcome to Jewish World Weekly on I-24 News. I'm Emily Francis. Every week we're focusing on stories, issues, and personalities of Jewish interest here in Israel and in the diaspora, the global Jewish community. And we start with our top 5 items in the Jewish world, presented by Nicole Zedeck. Hi, Nicole.
Thanks, Emily. Here are the top 5 items in the Jewish world this week. It was a historic night for Jews in Hollywood at the 97th Academy Awards. Adrian Brody and Mikey Madison won Best Actor and Best Actress, marking the first time in decades that Jewish actors have swept both top categories. Best Supporting Actor went to a co-star in the film A Real Pain, which is about Jewish cousins visiting the Majdanek concentration camp, while The Brutalist, which explores a Holocaust survivor's experience with anti-Semitism in America, won for Best Cinematography and Score. Russia says it thwarted a terror attack on a Jewish institution in the Moscow metro. A Central Asian-born suspect planned to detonate explosives but was killed in a shootout with security forces. He had pledged allegiance to an unnamed terror group and allegedly intended to join its ranks in Afghanistan after the attack. The Kremlin says the incident highlights ongoing security threats to Jewish communities in the region. Israel has ended its diplomatic boycott of several European far-right parties, despite their histories of anti-Semitism allegations. Foreign Minister Gideon Saar announced that Israel will now engage with France's National Rally, Sweden Democrats, and Spain's Vox, like any other political party. The move follows their vocal support for Israel and commitments to combat anti-Semitism, though critics remain skeptical of their transformation. Kosher food prices have surged globally, with inflation and supply chain disruptions driving up costs. In the U.S., some kosher staples are now 20% more expensive than last year, making it harder for Jewish families to afford traditional diets. Reports also say that the U.S.-Canada tariff war may raise kosher food prices by 60%. And Adidas has sold its last remaining Yeezy sneakers, ending its liquidation of the brand tied to Ye, formerly known as Kanye West. The company cut ties with Ye in 2022 after his anti-Semitic remarks, leading to massive losses. Adidas has since pledged part of the Yeezy sale proceeds, totaling $690 million this year, to groups fighting anti-Semitism, including the Anti-Defamation League. Those are your top 5 items in the Jewish world this week. Back to you, Emily.
The famous diary of Anne Frank has withstood the test of time for over 80 years after she started writing it. In the last year and a half, global anti-Semitism and anti-Israel vitriol has risen to alarming levels. And now, for the first time in history, Anne Frank's famous hiding place is on full display in New York City's Union Square. And it is something that opened on the end of January's International Holocaust Remembrance Day, which also marked 80 years since the liberation of Auschwitz. Joining us now from Amsterdam is Tom Brink, the head of collections and presentations at the Anne Frank House. Hello, and thank you for being here. Last time was during COVID.
Hello. It was, yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So this is definitely something you have all been working hard on. I know the plans were in the works also before October 7th. So talk about the, first of all, since October 7th, we know as many as 1 million people come a year to the location in Amsterdam. Have you seen more people seeking to be educated, or has it been tense?
That's hard to say. You know, the tickets for the museum are sold out almost every day throughout the year. And that was before October 7th, and that still is the case after October 7th. So it's really hard to measure whether demand has increased and if there really is a post-October the 7th effect.
Well, the fact is it's full
I wouldn't
still.
dare to say. It's full still, absolutely, yes. We have about 1.3 million visitors a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that says a lot. At least, you know, it is something still, of course, so relevant. So let's talk about the exhibition in New York. It's in Union Square. Again, I know it wasn't planned. I mean, it was planned before October 7th, but I guess the timing has made it that much more important now.
Yeah, I think we can say that. Although we planned it, we've been working on this for a couple of years actually, and that is the reason for that is actually twofold. On the one hand, it is, as I just said, we're almost always sold out, and the museum is almost always sold out, and so we know that many of the people coming to Amsterdam would like to visit the museum, but tickets are sold out, so they can't. But also, there's many people who can simply not travel to Amsterdam because of different reasons, and we have been looking into ways to kind of bring the story to them as well. But this is more like I would say like a logistical reason. But then again, we see that anti-Semitism has been on the rise for years now, for the last years, and that is, I think, the most important reason why we wanted to do something outside Amsterdam, and this exhibit is one of the examples that really, helps us bring across this story to a different audience, not only in Amsterdam.
Yeah. So you guys were able to recreate Anne Frank and her family's hiding place, the famous attic that we all know about. So tell us about that. And also, there's a lot of archival materials that haven't been seen before that have been become part of this exhibition. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. Absolutely, and although the recreation of the hiding place has understandably gained a lot of interest and attracted a lot of interest, but the exhibition is actually much more than that. The entire exhibition spends, I think, almost a century covering the Frank family's history from the early 20th century in Frankfurt. So that is before the rise of Hitler, and that was when the family was still a well-to-do Jewish and German family. As Otto always said, we were as Jewish as we were German. That is where the exhibition starts. And then in 1929, after the economic crisis, and also the political and social crisis in Germany starts, we see that Jews are all of a sudden, more or less, they are like a problem, and they are the scapegoat for everything that goes wrong. And well, that is what we all tell in this exhibition. And then they have to flee to Amsterdam. And this is kind of, if you say, this is kind of I would almost say a classic exhibition with lots and lots of original artifacts from the family. And it is like we have silverware, we have tableware from Frankfurt, we have furniture, but also very, very nice, like the small, what we call poetry books, which are kind of like a friendship book where Margot and Anne wrote little poems for their friends in, and all these kind of very, very intimate personal items as well.
That is so interesting. For example,
and it's also that is like, it is a very personal and intimate approach. And that goes for the hiding place as well. What we did is we meticulously recreated the hiding place with all its details, as we know from here in Amsterdam, of course. It is the structure, the wallpaper, but also the pictures from the magazines that then cut out of magazines and stuck to the wall. And also, that is where it really differs from Amsterdam. We have furbished the hiding place in New York, in the exhibition in New York, with furniture and artifacts from the time. These are not the original furniture and artifacts from the Frank family, because that was taken away after they were arrested here in Amsterdam, but they are from the time. So you walk through the rooms and it is like the family and the other people in hiding are still there. And we see that wonderful, and those are original artifacts that show that the people in hiding thought of it as a temporary situation. Margot, for example, did a Latin course. She was preparing for study after leaving the hiding place, and Fritz Pfeffer, one of the people in hiding as well, his Spanish textbook is on display because he prepared for immigration to South America after the liberation. And one piece I personally find very, very touching is Auguste van Pel's festive dress. It is her original dress, and we think that she kept it for after the liberation, to wear it after the liberation. But well, as we all know, it never came to them.
Wow, it's so incredible, and everybody should go see it in New York. Tom Brink, thank you again. Good to see you again, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully in person in the near future.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
President Trump plans to cut more than 90% of USAID foreign aid contracts and eliminate $60 billion in overall U.S. assistance around the world. Among the numerous countries who will feel the lasting effects of this decision is Uganda, which has a small Jewish population. Joining us now from Uganda is medical officer Dr. Samson Wamani. Thank you for being here. I know you're working very hard.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for welcoming me on the show.
Of course, of course. So with at least 30% of Africans living in extreme poverty and with the cuts of 60 billion worldwide, how is this going to affect the people of Uganda in particular?
Well, the aid has beaten us hard. We're already having the effects ranging from simple healthcare delivery systems at the village level up to national level. We are having problems in implementing mother-to-child services, immunization. We are having challenges in implementing very basic and very important healthcare systems at village level. We are having problems in the recent Ebola, where we had issues in getting infection prevention and control materials in order to make sure that the disease does not go out of hand. Previously, we had, with USAID, we had everything at our disposal, right from investigations to prevention. So cutting the aid is affecting the lowest person, the person who doesn't know the politics of the world, but we're getting it very hard.
I understand there's more than 2,000 Jews in Uganda. Explain what the community experience is like. How do the the other people in your country treat the Jewish community? Is there fear? Is there violence? Is there anti-Semitism?
No one actually knows us so much. When you say that I'm Jewish, some people think that's a joke. You know,
right?
Jewish. You must be a white to be a Jew. Mm-hmm. So some people think we are just joking around. And for those ones who know that actually we are Jewish, don't care so much. Actually, for us in Uganda, what separates us is the day and the house of prayer. No one really cares about who is who. We don't even actually introduce ourselves by name. And because most of our names are like English names, Samson, no one thinks it is a Hebrew name. So no one has ever cared. We don't have any of recent. We've not had any problem with our Muslim or Christian neighbors. But back then, in 1970s, during the Idi Amin rule, it was more pronounced that people could not mention that they were Jewish. Right now, it's not a problem because of the freedom to worship in the Constitution.
Well, that's comforting to hear that there is a country in the world where where the Jews are not being targeted. So keep up the good work, saving lives, and being such a role model and a leader, not just in your community, but for the world. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's for me and for the rest of us who are in the healthcare system. It's a calling. It's building and bringing back that smile to somebody who has lost the hope. We feel like it's the mitzvah, which I have to fulfill. I feel that's what I'm made to do.
Wow.
I feel that's the only way I can be useful in this world. You know, when I qualified as a medical officer, I was in Kampala. But I felt like there are so many doctors in Kampala. The best way I can be useful in this world is to go back to the village. I believe Hashem made it by purpose that I should be born in that village.
Wow.
Not in Kampala and not in New York. So the best way is to make sure that you make the world a better place more than you found it.
Wow.
Yeah. Make sure that you bring a smile. Create that difference when you still can. And the time is now.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, and so well said. And thank you for bringing a smile to my face as well. So we need to see you here in Israel. Come visit us.
Thank you.
A Jewish American rapper, singer, and songwriter is bringing his beats and rhythms to music lovers around the world. Ari Benjamin Lesser is joining us now via Zoom from Cleveland, Ohio. welcome, and it must be very cold where you are right now.
So nice to be here, Emily. Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's snowing outside right now.
Oh, wow. So you're warming up everybody's hearts by your tunes. You've been on the scene for quite a while. Tell us kind of how this calling began to bring your own special renditions of King David's Psalms amongst so many other very important works.
Yeah, so I was writing songs for about 7 years before I first came across the Book of Psalms. And, I know that Psalms is part of Jewish tradition, but I never really read what King David was writing about. And once I started to dive into the book, I was like, these would make some pretty interesting lyrics. So I've done a lot of work translating the Psalms into English, really trying to keep them accurate, make them rhyme. And that was the beginning of my journey into Torah, into Yiddishkeit, Judaism, and using my songwriting abilities in that work.
Well, and translating it and then making it rhyme, that's a challenge.
Absolutely. It's kind of like a puzzle. I do some songs that are all original, and those are much more creative. When I'm taking a translation, it's more mathematical. I got to figure out how can I say exactly the same thing in a different language,
right,
and make it rhyme.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you've done it pretty well. Also explain, you came to Israel on birthright, and that was kind of the defining moment for you in your journey?
Well, definitely, it was a big moment. I came birthright, I think, in 2012, and I knew I wanted to explore the Holy Land while I was there. So before I even went, I pushed my return flight to the maximum, which was, I think, 3 months. And I had the first month planned out. The other 2 months, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I ended up traveling around, visiting all the amazing holy spots. Obviously, birthright's incredible. They take you to a lot of great places, but I had to go to Hebron. I wanted to go to Beit Lechem, other places that they don't take you. And then I ended up learning in yeshiva, both in Yerushalayim and eventually up in Sfat, and staying for a year. I skipped my return flight. I couldn't leave.
The question is, did you get a refund on the difference? Of course not, right?
No, I did not. I had to buy a new flight.
Yeah. So with your work, and given that, you are, out there, you're definitely out there, what has been your experience since October 7th? Are you getting a lot of, anti-Semitism, pushback, hate messages on your platforms? Tell us.
Well, absolutely. I've always dealt with this. I put out a song called Boycott Israel, which was kind of like, boycott Israel if you think that's just, but unless you have a double standard, you must also boycott the rest of the nations with allegations of human rights violations. We're not perfect, but if you think we're the worst, first take a look at the rest of the earth. Don't pick and choose to pick on the Jews. Pick up the paper and read the news.
Wow.
And then I go through like 40 different countries that are all having serious human rights abuse issues. So I did that in 2013 and certainly got lots of anti-Semitism, lots of pushback. But what I'll say is like the level that I would get, like the worst thing I would see then would be maybe like Holocaust denial, right? People who they thought there was some big conspiracy. Now we've moved into like a whole worse area where there's really people who are praising the Holocaust. It's really disgusting stuff that I'm seeing now. And not just a few people. It's, I posted a piece for the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, just pure, not a political piece, just talking about the history, remembering what happened to our people. And the comments were just shocking and appalling. And if you want, you can look on my Instagram at Ari Lesser. You can see, this is the what Jews on social media are dealing with right now. It's really, really scary
and
stuff.
It's easy for people to post and kind of hide behind the fact that they're on social media and not having to put a public face to it. But what do you do? How do you take the high road, or do you respond? What can you do, if anything?
I've been struggling with this question, and what it really feels like is people are so entrenched. They're so set in their mindset, in their ways. There's not really any more convincing people through rational arguments. People are being irrational. And so I think the best thing for us to do is just to be a light, to just shine our light, to be positive, to show the beauty of Judaism, show the beauty of Torah, and do it in a positive way that really makes people see that a lot of these stereotypes are just lies, are just totally made up. And I think that positivity and light is the best way to disperse the darkness.
Right, of course. So have you gotten any kind of reaction? I know you've recently talked about Kanye. You know, he's been mouthing off again. You also did a compelling post, you know, about the tragedy of what happened to the Bebus family. So, you know, are you able to break through? Are you able to get some kind of opening, even dialogue, even if Kanye were to respond, maybe you could have a conversation with the guy?
Absolutely. Look, I'm a very open person. I'm happy to engage, dialogue, converse with anybody, and I would love to talk with Kanye if he was interested. If he wants to have a little battle rap to him down for that also. If he wants to spit back, hey, I'll clap back. So bring it on, Kanye.
That would be fun. Can you imagine the two of you on stage going at it? Wow. I know that's a pipe dream.
I did a piece. Macklemore's another, you know, sort of anti-Semitic, anti-Zionist rapper that, you know, has been doing a lot of nasty stuff lately. So I did a piece for him earlier this year, and I even in my mind I started planning stuff like if he comes back, and then he did. He like posted another video, so I had all this stuff ready to go just as soon as he posted his new thing. So
you got an arsenal. You got an arsenal waiting, and sometimes you'll have to release things by necessity, not by choosing when.
Absolutely, absolutely. I prefer to stay positive. I prefer to spread joy. But if these anti-Semites are going to keep opening their mouths in a public way, I'm going to respond. You know, I can't help it.
Amazing. Well, Ari Lesser, thank you so much for being here, and keep up the good work, and come to Israel soon with a non-return ticket like before.
Hopefully Lag BaOmer, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Amazing, amazing. I'll see you in the north for Lag BaOmer.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. All the best, guys.
A new housing program in the Galilee is offering lone soldiers much more than just a home. The Hannaton Educational Center wants to make sure when lone soldiers leave their home countries to come serve in the IDF, they have a community and are supported every step of the way. I-24 News correspondent Nicole Zedeck heads to Kibbutz Hannaton for a look at their new initiative.
Being here is really for the future of Israel and also for our students, because it all starts with the individual.
That's the message coming from the Hannaton Educational Center, located in the Galilee.
So the Hannaton Educational Center really wants to empower and educate the next leadership of the state of Israel as a pluralistic leadership.
That's what they teach at their Mechina, or pre-army gap year program, at Kibbutz Hannaton.
Everybody who's here is here because they're looking for more, and they want to be here, and they know that they have an impact and they have a responsibility to the Israeli society.
While the Mechina is in its 13th cohort, there's a new mission also in the works.
Because the connection between the Jewish people and the Jewish state for us is so natural, and we need that connection because we're that togetherness is who we are. We decided to build a parallel program, really, beside the Mechina, for lone soldiers.
A lone soldier is an immigrant who enlists in the Israeli military without any family in the Jewish state.
I came as a Jew from overseas, and I knew that I wanted to strengthen my identity, and I wanted to learn Hebrew and to know what it was to be Israeli before I drafted into the army. That was my dream, was to draft into the army, and I knew that I had to do the preparation.
Morty participated in the Mechina before enlisting in the army, but when he was a lone soldier, there was no option for housing.
So 4 years on, sometimes I forget how hard it really was. How hard it really is to finish the army, leave the army Thursday night at 8 o'clock, have to go somewhere to some family that I don't really know at the edge of the country, come with all my laundry like here, dump it on them, and then they make dinner for you, so you have to be nice and you have to sit and all that, and it's all great, but really all you want to do is go to sleep and not talk to anyone.
Without a home base, he was couch surfing nearly every weekend during his time in the IDF.
My story, I really am thankful and appreciative of all those people who did help me, because without them it would be impossible. But looking back, I mean, I can only dream about a framework that would guide me from the day I landed to the day I was released, and to help me reintegrate again all those things that I did by myself the hard way.
Well, lone soldiers are released from the army, they stay lone. They stay lone, lone release soldiers. They don't have a family here. They don't have a home here. It's important for us to accompany these lone soldiers when they're released from the army, to accompany them 10 years ahead, 20 years ahead. We want those lone soldiers that want to be a part of Israel. We know how hard it is.
The vision for the new Lone Soldier Initiative came to light with the help of a former lone soldier.
So Michael Greenberg came here as a lone soldier in the late 60s, 68, and joined the paratroopers. Being a lone soldier, he wanted to build those homes for those lone soldiers, and he was a conservative Jew. So it just came all together here when he came here.
That's one of the things that makes the Hannaton Educational Center so unique.
There's right now only two solutions. You go to a secular kibbutz or to an Orthodox kibbutz, which, by the way, is great, is magnificent, but there's more to that. There's more richness to that. You have to talk about a Jewish perspective doesn't hold only extremes, but can hold a wide range of identities, whether you're secular or reform or conservative or Orthodox or modern Orthodox or not modern Orthodox. So we want to open that, and we want to give people a sense of home.
This is the first lone soldier housing for conservative and reform Jews, a middle ground offering options for everyone.
We decided to really build them a physical home, and with this community would give them their spiritual home.
I think the kibbutz offers like a more small-scale opportunity to integrate into society. It also offers community, which is something that a lot of people look for no matter where they are.
Providing a much-needed community to the lone soldiers leaving theirs behind to serve the state of Israel. Reporting from the Galilee, Nicole Zedeck for I-24 News.
So that is all for this week's episode of Jewish World Weekly. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Emily Francis, and be sure to check to our I-24 News YouTube channel to catch up on this episode and previous episodes as well.